with a really low torque when we have a high rotation speed and a low flow rate. And we can see the part where we would have the highest torque is not displayed because the simulation were not converged. Okay. So for the SME and the max temperature, we have something similar, I guess, because the maximum temperature is more or less proportional to the mechanical energy we give to the product. So the highest SME, the higher the temperature measured for the product. Let's have a look at the pressure. So yeah, we also have something interesting for the pressure because we can understand more or less why there is a part where we do not get result at all, because once we cross this line, so which is a combination of the rotation speed and the flow rate, we get in a domain where it's not possible at all to get the simulation running, because I guess it's completely filled and it's not possible to have this much product if the rotation speed is too low.
What we can see is the speed, the rotation speed does not impact too much on the pressure somewhere.
Yes, you are right, and for me it makes sense because here we are only looking at what happens inside the die. So for the die, the rotation speed does not really change the pressure you need to go through.
It decreases, in fact. It decreases the pressure, which is it makes sense because it increases the temperature.
Yeah, you're right. It's not directly the rotation speed. It's the fact that it increases the temperature, so it lowers the viscosity of the product.
Exactly.
And we need a lower pressure to be able to go through the die. So once again, we can display curves by selecting one rotation speed or one flow rate. Maybe interesting also. No, here it was better like this. If we keep looking at the pressure at the die, we see that for a given rotation speed, we have a proportional evolution for the pressure at the head of the die. And then, I guess in this region, it starts being completely filled, and there is exponential evolution of the pressure. And then we reach a point where it's not realistic.
How did you select the fact that you have a lane or
to have a singular plot?
Few options?
No, yeah, I was in graphical analysis and I selected one rotation speed here on the top of the
screen.
Yeah,
sure, but for me, on my curve, I have only the dots.
Ah, only the dots. I don't know. I know sometimes in the trading version, it deletes the line between the dots. I don't know yet why.
Okay.
Why it does. But you are right.
It's not a question of selection. Okay.
No, it's an issue on our side for this.
Okay, 1 point.
So some of you might have only dots. Let's see what happens if I display all values. If I display all values, it's also nice because we see most points are on the same y coordinate, which is in line with what you said, Philippe. So increasing the rotation speed does not really change the pressure we need to go through the die. A little bit because it still increases the temperature, but globally it's the flow rate which has an impact on the result. If we do the opposite, here if we select variable and all values on the top of the screen. So here we have one curve for each flow rate, and we can see each curve is differentiated from the other. So increasing the flow rate has a direct impact on the flow rate, on the pressure inside the die. Like with the previous theory, we can set some criteria. So I suggest having a criteria for the pressure and not the pressure because it may be a bit harder to analyze. But for the SME, let's say we want a value above 160 kWh per ton. Do not forget to set this criteria. So greater than or equal to a value. So if you go back to the 3D surface and if you have a result selected, you should have the red and the green simulation. And then it's also possible to select one working simulation, so one simulation which fits your criteria, and to save it as an individual simulation. So
you select 160, 160?
Hmm?
160 for the value?
Yes, 160, yes.
160, okay.
And then you just pick one of the green one, so this one, for example. Double click on an intersection, so you have a yellow dot like this, and then you find your yellow dot in your result data.
And what does a pink dot mean?
The pink dot is the starting point, so you know the simulation
okay.
we had initially.
Thank you.
You do not. Sometimes the pink dot is not in the surface. You do not have to be centered around your starting point.
And so in the results data, the simulation that fulfill our criteria are the one with 0.
No, it's not. There's the one. Not all. I think some with 0 are not right. Here you can see simulation 75 as the 0 for the status, but the 0 means it did converge. Doesn't mean it's okay for our criteria.
Okay.
So you got result, but the SME is too low, so it appears in red. Here simulation 73 would be good because I both have a 0 and.
Okay, so I do have to have 0 and okay, but there is not something that tells me, okay, you're in this table, your simulation converge and at the same time respects the criteria in the table here. I mean, just to speed up the selection.
No, I think it's no. You cannot. If you only have a look at one column. Technically, you can, if there is a value in the SME which is not 0 and which does not appear in red, it will be okay. It means the simulation is okay for your criteria.
Okay.
If you have a 0, it means it did not converge. And then if it is in red, it means it's not okay for your criteria. So here, simulation 110 is okay because I have a value for the SME and it's not in red.
Okay.
But here the simulation I want is actually this one, which is highlighted in yellow, because it's the one I selected in the 3D surface. So I'm going to right click on the SME and select Save as a simulation in the database. So it was simulation 128. And if I have a look at it now, I can see, I can have a look at the individual results.
To select the green zone on the 3D vision, how did you pick it?
So to select like this, for example, you mean?
Yeah.
I double click on an intersection point.
Intersection.
Yes.
Point. Okay. Okay.
And when you run the DOE, you don't have to save it. It will be automatically. Because if I want to press save, it says DOE results will be removed. Continue.
Yes.
I don't have to.
No, you don't have to, and you shouldn't actually,
Okay.
because it will delete it.
Okay.
But sometimes
Automatically.
you need to do it because if you realize that you forgot to save one of the results, for example, you need the SME but you forgot about it, you need to run it again because it's not. There is no other way to do it.
Okay.
Even if it's possible to speed up the process with the latest version of Fluidoid because it's possible to run the DOE on more than one core. So I don't know how familiar you are with numerical simulation, but you can speed up every computation by running something on several cores. To do it, you would go to the settings, then to solver, and let me see, I can zoom. In the solver tab, you have this line, so core counts for DOE batch. By default, it's 1, so it's run on one core. You can increase this value to if you have some cores on your computer. If not, it will not be possible.
Okay.
And the more cores you use, the quicker it will be for your computation.
Okay.
I cannot go above 1 because I need to use a Thales license, which is not what we use for the demo version. But on your installation, it might be possible. I think in Excel 1, for example, I installed the Thales version.
Okay.
So it should be possible.
Where did you reach this? Did you show me?
Yes, so I clicked on the file on the top of the screen, and then settings.
Yeah, but where are you first? Before?
I was in the DOE window, but in all window you have a file automatically
Okay, file.
on the top left, file, and then settings.
Setting.
There is one tab which is called solver,
Solver, okay.
and in solver you have a line where it says the cores count for DOE. So this is the value.
Comes from DOE, yeah.
We cannot increase the value because it's not possible of the demo version. But on your installation, you might be able to select more than one core to run the computation.
Okay. But here there is no interest.
It would have been interesting, but we cannot on the demo version. Instead of 15 minutes, for example, in your case, it would have taken like 8 minutes if you run it on 2 cores instead of 1.
Okay. Okay.
It might be interesting if you use the DOEs a lot. Because for individual simulation, it does not change anything.
Okay.
I do have a question which is not on DOE. Referring to the results, the shear rate on the values of the shear rate of the curves take into account the filling ratio along the screw or not? Because the shear rate usually, well, for the ones that I performed, have two values, a lower one and it goes up to the top one, while the filling ratio not always changes.
Okay.
So my question is, do I have to relate it to understand the actual shear rate, or it is the shear rate?
So generally, you just need to have a look at the curve, and the curve gives you information regarding the local shear rate. So it already takes into account the actual flow inside the screw element. So if it's filled or not, it will be taken into account. But let me check if I have an example to illustrate what you said. No, this one is too much. Okay. So here, it came back to the simple simulation I showed you yesterday. So you see, you don't have a lot of elements. But here, theoretically, as long as you are in this element, you have the same filling ratio, and the shear rate remains at 197. But here, I think we are still in the same element, so the same geometrical element. But it's different because in this part it's completely filled. So you are right, you have a different shear rate. So the shear rate is a bit higher in this example.
Okay, so it's the actual shear rate that the materials face.
Yeah, it is the actual shear rate that the material faces inside an element.
Okay.
And in the reverse element, it's even higher, actually.
But the fact that, as an interpretation point of view, just to understand, the fact that for a portion of the screw, I do have a higher shear rate and the complete filling, while in the other one, I do have the complete filling, but I do not have such a high shear rate. It means that where the two values are at the top, I have a more efficient mixing process and orientation process, while
yes.
in the part before I do have the filling, but the mixing is not the top that I can have. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I think I see what you mean. So, for example, you have two elements where the filling ratio is different, but they have a similar shear rate. So, what element has bring more mechanical energy to the product, more or less?
Yeah.
So, this you can see. If you want to see this kind of result, I think it's better to have a look at the dissipated energy, because the dissipated energy takes into account the local shear rate. The time an element spent inside the time the product spent inside an element. So if you have an element with a really high shear rate, but if the product goes through it really quickly, it won't have a megaton heat. And I think the total dissipated energy also takes into account the not necessarily but at least the time spent inside the element. So if I have a look at it on this simulation. Not like this, maybe. Here you can see the slope in this element and in this element is a bit different. So even if it is the same geometry, we can guess, we know this element will bring more mechanical energy to this product.
Okay.
Because the difference between this point and this point is bigger than the difference between this point and this point.
Okay.
And it is even more important in this part of the screw, because you can see we have a huge increase in a short amount of time.
Okay, and in fact, in that point, it was where we had the top of the two other parameters, so the filling ratio and
the shear rate, yes.
Okay. I see. Thank you.
Can we put here the residence time, the local residence time?
Yes.
Please.
The look, you mean
Local.
the
Yeah, the local one.
local residence time in itself is a bit hard to read, because you see the unit is a second divided by meter. So I think it's a bit easier to read if you plot it like this, total residence time, because you see the time spent inside an element. You can see in this part we have a slope. We have the same slope in this element and in this element, but it's because these elements are completely filled, and the 2D section is the same. So there is no region. So the speed of the product is the same inside this part of the screw. So il va voir, maybe you can have a look at some formulas. So just to give you more details regarding the energy and to link it with what you were saying, Fulvia. So yesterday I showed you a slide where I told you the power is proportional to the viscosity of the product and the square of the shear rate. But the thing is, this value is not directly power. It's power divided by a volume. It's a power by unit of volume. So if you only look at the shear rate or the square of the shear rate, you won't have all the information regarding the distribution. So I think if I remember, the volume of product you have inside an element is also important. So this means that if you have an element with a lot of product and a high shear rate, you will give a lot of energy to the product. And I guess if you want the energy of the product at similar, if you want the energy of the product, it's similar, but you also need to multiply it by the time spent inside the screw element. What I mean by that is that if you look at the result total dissipated energy, so this one, the energy, you will have something which already takes into account the viscosity of the product, the square of the shear rate, the volume of product, and the time spent inside the screw element.
Okay.
So if I understand, you were saying if I have several contributions, so if I need to look at the filling ratio for the volume, the shear rate, and so on, how do I know which element will bring the more energy to the product? So I guess the simplest way is to look at the total dissipated energy, because you already it already takes all these values into account for the computation.
Okay. Thank you.
So this should not prevent you from looking at other local values. So the shear rate is also interesting, and the filling ratio is also interesting. But in your case, if it's the mechanical energy which contributes to what you want to have a look at, maybe also interesting to have a look at not this curve, so the total dissipated energy. This one.
Yeah, for example, in my specific case, the shear rate gives me information on the inner morphology of the specific macromolecules, while the dispersed energy, as I understood, gives me the idea of how much the two polymers are blended together. So are two different information that I can add together.
Yes.
So it's quite interesting.
Yes, exactly. So you either look at them individually or you associate them with the other results to look at it. And I guess also now it might be interesting for me to show you how to create other results. So Florian, yesterday we talked a little bit about the ratio of the torque. You know, sometimes on the extruder you have a ratio instead of directly an absolute value. So it's possible to add other results with Ludovic with one of the options, and it makes it a bit easier to assess, to compare simulation. So what I would like, for example, is to create two results. So one which would be the ratio of the torque, and one which would be the contribution of this element to the mechanical energy. But no, you don't have this simulation on your side, so it will be complicated. No, so this we will actually do it this afternoon, because it will be easier to work on the simulation you have on your side. For now, I would like, yesterday I told you it would be interesting to work with a bigger extruder to show you how we can compare results when we have several diameters. So that's what we are going to do now. So it's going to be a bit similar to what we did yesterday, when we built a screw profile. but it should be a bit quicker because for the screw profile in itself, you won't have to follow a plan. It will be up to you to build it with some of the elements we have. So for this, just let me take one of the simulations. Let's see. This one is too small. Just checking something. Okay. So I'll go back to your simulation. We will work with we will build a simulation on a ZSK50, which is an extruder with a 50mm diameter, and we will try to have something similar to what we had on this configuration.
From where?
From nowhere, we just create a new simulation.
New simulation.
So this time we will create a new project in the database we were in. So you can right click and select new project, and this time you type in exercise 2. And then to create a new simulation, you right click on exercise 2 and click on new simulation. So for now it will just be named ZSK50, but we will give it a more accurate name when we have the new simulation.
Right click and new simulation.
New simulation.
Okay.
So I just change the name. Then you go to Extruder. And like yesterday, we will set up the simulation. So first we need the main dimensions. So do you know the diameter? We know it, it's a ZSK50, so it's a 50mm diameter. The center line, I don't remember by heart. I guess it's something close to 1.6. Maybe some of you know. For ZSK50, the center line.
No,
The ratio.
no, the ratio is 1.555.
Ah, yes.
Because it's mega compounder and mega volume. They divide in 2 grams, so one is it's not the same thing as Lystrix.
Okay, so
76.
yes, so
So
we
if
have.
you have a big torque on mega compounder, it's 155.
Okay,
on
so
the ratio.
so yeah, don't forget to select diameter, the ratio between area and Ri, and then you can input 1.55.
1.66.
It's one.
I think it's 1.66.
Oh, on Lystrix, it's always 166, but Coperion divide in 2 grams. So one with more torque and the
Yeah,
other
I
with
know.
more volume.
I think the 165. Why, it's almost the same. 66, 65, it doesn't matter.
I think I have the information on my computer, so I can check. So we'll see. No, they don't only.
There's information on it.
No, I don't care. 165.
The SK50, MC, so MC is for mega compounder.
Yeah. It's 180 for mega volume.
I'm connected to the Wi-Fi. Just let me check. I'll come back in a minute.
Okay.
Stop.